You know you're a Class A slut when you put your name into Google Images and this is what comes up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, meet Jaclyn Glenn, the biggest fucking idiot atheist you will ever see in your entire life. Basically, I was browsing around the internet and I accidentally clicked on one of her videos. Obviously, it was an accident or else I would never have clicked onto it. So, she's basically going to debate... She's going to debate Prager University. Oh, people. You have no idea the level of stupidity that you are in for. Seriously, check this out.
If there's no God, then murder isn't wrong. Duh.
Without changing your voices, you got no point. Duh.
Great. This is a video of a guy. I only watched the first few seconds of this 5-minute video because I don't want to spoil my reactions. But the gist of it that I got was that basically if you're an atheist, how does you have morals? If atheists, where morals come from? If you don't have God, why aren't you just raping and pillaging and murdering in the streets?
That's not really what the video is about. Let's just get that much out the way. It's really more or less just about where morality comes from. So right off the bat, she's already screwing it up.
Because the Bible is such an ethical book.
Bitch, have you read the Quran?
Do you believe that good and evil exist?
No, I do not.
The answer to this question separates Judeo-Christian values from secular values.
Why? The word evil kind of implies something of supernatural origin.
By whose authority, Jaclyn? Look at the very definition of the word evil. Okay, it has nothing to do with supernatural, okay? It's an adjective. It's something that describes something that is bad. What the hell does that have to do with the supernatural?
So, yeah, I mean, I believe in a subjective right and wrong.
Right and wrong is not subjective. This is basically Jaclyn Glenn's main talking point, is that the concepts of, okay, that good and evil are subjective. The idea that good and evil is a matter of perspective or perception, whatever, that's just a way that evil people try to justify the things that they do. Is rape in the United States bad? Yes. Is rape in Pakistan bad? Yes. And if anything, rape is actually worse in Pakistan because, because over there it's actually legal. And not only legal, but actually encouraged. But then, you know, you listen to the feminazis and they all wanted to say, well, the United States is a rape culture and it's patriarchal. It's like, you have never been to the fucking Middle East. If I shipped your ass out to frickin' Pakistan, okay, and you got frickin' mass raped, would you frickin' sit there and say, well, it's their culture, so I guess it's not wrong? No, you'd still say this is fucking horrible thing. I can't believe this is happening to me. But over there, tough shit. Let's continue.
Let me offer the clearest possible example. Murder. Is murder wrong?
In my opinion, subjectively, yes it is. But I guess you have to give context because most people who think murder is wrong will gladly support war.
People who support war support the causes of war, not the actual killings.
Is it evil? Nearly everyone would answer yes.
Apparently not everyone, because I think the concept of evil is bullshit.
But now I will pose a much harder question. How do you know?
Well, it's a subjective opinion. It's not a matter of knowledge.
I'm sure you think murder is wrong, but how do you know? If I asked you how you know that the Earth is round, you would show me photographs from outer space or offer me measurable data. But what photographs could you show? What measurements could you provide that prove that murder or rape or theft is wrong?
I mean, like, I could ask you what measurements or evidence could you provide for God?
Yeah, how's this for evidence, you fucking bitch? Ooh, sorry, no Bible quotes in that one. I think you're gonna have to actually use your brain for that.
There are scientific facts, but without God, there are no moral facts.
Here we go. Here we go. We're getting into it. You need God for morals. You need the Bible for morals. I think this is really stupid. Really stupid. So, religious people, tell me this. If you're a religious person and you believe what this man is saying right now, if you found out right now 100% that there was no God, would you start murdering people, raping people?
Yes, I would, actually.
The problem with this is that morality is very subjective and very much dependent on the time and place in which you live. The morals that people have today might not be the morals they have in 100 years, and the morals we have today are certainly not the morals we had 100 years ago.
Again, just because you can justify something does not change the nature of it, okay? Good and evil is objective. Just because you can justify murder does not mean that murder is good. Okay, look at this scene here from Death Note, as an example.
What you're doing right now is evil.
You think I'm evil? I am justice! I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who'll become the god of a new world that everyone desires. All those who would oppose that god, they are the ones who are truly evil.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with Death Note, in that scene, Light Yagami / Kira is basically justifying mass murder. Okay, now, Jaclyn Glenn herself even said that she believes that murder is wrong. But, I don't know, I guess, seeing as Light Yagami just justified mass murder, I guess murder is bad, but mass murder is good. Again, it makes no fucking sense. Again, just because you can justify something does not change the nature of it, okay? Like I said, blurring that line between what's good and what's evil is the way evil people justify what they do.
Why? Because objective morality doesn't exist. It's entirely subjective and, like I said, dependent upon the time and place in which you live, the people that you surround yourself with, what is expected from you by society. If you live in a society where murder is considered to be wrong, that is a secular value that religion is just stamping with God. And it shouldn't. Religion claims morality that's basically stolen from secular morality and then asks, how could you have it without religion? Well, because it was there before and it would be there without.
I totally love how she's basically asserting that atheism existed before religion. Derp. You can't doubt something if it doesn't exist.
In a secular world, there can only be opinions about morality. They may be personal opinions or society's opinions, but only opinions.
Okay, yeah, that's what I just said. So we agree on a thing, but you're posing it as though that's a bad thing. But opinions is all that anyone ever has in this area, because you can't say that your subjective opinion should be a standard fact for everyone.
Every atheist philosopher I have read or debated on this subject has acknowledged that if there is no God, there is no objective morality.
Okay, yeah, that's what I've been saying, and I feel like he's trying to trick viewers by using this word objective that people may or may not be familiar with. So let me explain it really quick.
Yeah, we're not a bunch of fucking superstitious dimwits like you and a bunch of other dumbass atheists think we are, okay? We know the difference between subjective and objective, okay? Subjective is basically opinion, whereas objective is fact. We know. You don't need to fucking explain it to us like we're children, you fucking whore.
Judeo-Christian values are predicated on the existence of a God of morality.
Right, of course, the same God of morality that just likes to randomly drown everyone.
I swear to God, that's like my favorite thing she says in this whole entire video. Seriously, this kills me every single time. You gotta love how atheists, people who doubt religion, people who just doubt the shit out of everything, will take the Bible much more literally and much more seriously than frickin' Christians or Jews will. Oh, the Torah. It just blows my mind. Like, you don't even frickin' believe in God, but you believe in Noah's Ark.
In other words, only if there is a God who says murder is wrong, is murder wrong?
Or, whenever God says that murder isn't wrong, like whenever he instructs people to murder other people for things like, I don't know, being gay.
Okay, seriously, Jaclyn, we already established that the Quran is bullshit. I don't know what the hell you keep bringing that up for.
Otherwise, all morality is opinion.
All morality is opinion. And let me just say this, if you're a Christian out there watching and you were upset at me pointing out that the Bible calls for death whenever someone is gay because it's just in the Old Testament, because it's just in Leviticus, let me ask you, with what sense of morality do you filter through the shit in the Bible?
Yeah, there's a little something that exists called the Ten Commandments. It's the very second book of the Bible. There's a little verse in that, there's a little part of it that says, thou shalt not kill.
Now, let me make two things clear. First, This doesn't mean that if you don't believe in God, you can't be a good person.
Duh. Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
There are plenty of kind and moral individuals who don't believe in God and Judeo-Christian values.
If you're saying that you can be moral without God, doesn't that just, kind of debunk everything that you previously said? Hey, how can you be a moral person without God? But hey, if you don't have God, you can be a moral person. What? Make up your damn mind.
Wrong again, Jackie. Okay, he's not saying you can't be moral if you don't believe in God. He's basically saying if you don't believe in God, then where does your morality come from? He's basically posing it as an open question, a question you are completely stilting and refusing to answer. Again, he's saying if your morality doesn't come from God, then where does it come from? Well, he's not asserting, he's asking. That's the difference.
Hitler, Stalin, and Mao didn't want to be murdered, but that hardly stopped them from murdering about 100 million people. It is not a coincidence that the rejection of Judeo-Christian values in the Western world by Nazism and communism led to the murder of all these innocent people.
People always say Hitler was an atheist and this is why he did all of these horrible things. No, Hitler wasn't an atheist. Hitler was a crazy person. And let's not forget that the Nazis wore belt buckles that said "God mit uns" on them. That translates to God with us.
Aw, look at Jackie. She's so cute. She actually thinks Nazis actually believed what they preached. Next, she's gonna tell everybody that feminists actually believe in gender equality, and we all see how well that turns out.
I'm reading, fuckface. Anyways, I'm not done. Not done. Shut the fuck up. Feminists do not want you. Shut the fuck up. Feminists hate patriarchy. We do not hate you, fuckface.
And if we're really gonna focus on atrocities committed by people, let's not ignore things that happened like the Crusades.
Oh, wonderful. A fucking history lesson by somebody who clearly knows nothing of history. Great. Seriously, what the hell do you think the Crusades were? The fucking Crusades, okay, that was basically just Christians defending themselves against Islamic terror. Look it the fuck up, you dumb bimbo. Charles Martel, grandfather of Charlemagne, look it the hell up. Instead of frickin' making stupid-ass assertions. Yeah, okay, you know what? Christians committed their share of bloodshed, too, back in the Dark Ages. But, show me a country that was perfect. Okay, show me a country that's completely clear of bloodshed or any kind of discrimination or any form of oppression. We in 2017 have evolved to a point beyond that. Shut up, liberals. We've evolved to a point beyond that, and we don't oppress people for their religion. We don't oppress people because of their sex or their sexuality anymore. If times were still like that, it would be commonplace.
It is also not a coincidence that the first societies in the world to abolish slavery, an institution that existed in every known society in human history, were Western societies rooted in Judeo-Christian values.
The Western societies rooted in Judeo-Christian values were the societies that had slaves to begin with. In fact, oftentimes the Bible was used to justify slavery. There are verses in the Bible that condone slavery.
Exactly what part of slavery existed in every society in human history wasn't clear. Did you just completely space out during that part of the video? Okay, again, he's not saying that we didn't have slaves. You can't abolish something that doesn't exist. Okay? He's not saying that slavery didn't exist. He's saying that it existed in pretty much every known society in human history. Every society. And he's basically right. There were slaves all over Africa. They had them in Europe. They had them in the United States. They had them in, pretty much every... Okay, but the first ones to acknowledge that slavery was wrong and get rid of slavery were Judeo-Christian countries. And here's another thing, Jaclyn Glenn. If you're gonna frickin' put out some bullshit like those verses in the Bible that condone slavery, you better be able to back that the fuck up. Show me one. Show me one verse that actually justifies or condones slavery. Because I've got several verses of the Bible right here that actually oppose slavery. Yeah, how about this one? Anybody who owns a fucking slave will be put to death.
And so were the first societies to affirm universal human rights. to emancipate women.
Okay, all right. I've already gone into the things that the Bible condones, like murder, slavery, and let's not forget it was pretty misogynistic. So to use the Bible and religion, which has historically been pretty oppressive of women, to say that that was the reason women got their rights is just kind of blowing my mind right now. The mental gymnastics, fuck, A+.
I'm just gonna let Milo take it from here. I can't even with this fucking bimbo.
There's so many things we owe to religion as a debt of gratitude that the sort of smug Reddit atheists don't even know about, and don't like to admit, and sort of like rage quit when you bring up. 5 minutes, all right, to think about some of the things that Christianity has brought to Western civilization. Consensual marriage. Marriage came to be counted as a sacrament by the Catholic Church, and as a sacrament it doesn't require a priest, only the agreement of the man and of the woman, which is the greatest protection ever given to women in the history of anything. By the Church's argument, women cannot be married against their will. They and the groom must say, I do. Think about that, ladies. Without the Catholic Church getting smart hundreds of years ago, you would have been married off to the highest bidder by your family today, which is one of my personal fantasies. But other people have different views, and most people would agree that mutually consensual marriages are a pretty good idea. So thank you to Jesus for that one.
Today, the rejection of Judeo-Christian values and moral absolutes has led to a world of moral confusion.
It seems like this concept of objective versus subjective morality, this idea of a definite good versus a definite bad or evil, is this thing that religious people just cling to. And I don't go along with that. I'm sorry, I just disagree with that. I think it's all very subjective. It is all opinion. And I'm really thankful when people don't base those opinions off of the Bible, because if we did actually follow what the Bible said to do, we would live in a pretty immoral world.
Oh yeah, a world where we don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery, forgive thy neighbor, love thy enemies, and yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, we would be living in a very, very dark world, wouldn't we? Okay, now for the rest of the video, she pretty much just goes on about her debate with this preacher guy. Okay, and then she basically, it's pretty much just repeating what she's already been saying throughout this whole fucking video, so there's really no point in showing that. Now, and at the end of it, she basically concludes by asking her audience, her people in the comment section, do you think that there's an objective or a subjective morality? Honestly, I'd say it's a little bit of both. Okay, like there are some things that people do that some might consider evil, some might not. But I think universally there is an objective morality, okay? Like, for example, murder. Most people, okay, pretty much, you would be hard, okay? It is illegal to commit murder in every country in the world. Okay, like, okay, even in, like, the most oppressive countries on earth, okay, even in North Korea, it is illegal to commit murder. It is illegal to commit murder in the United States. It is illegal to commit murder in all parts of the Middle East and in Africa and in Australia and in all parts of Asia. Okay, murder is always wrong. It's always okay. So that's the objective morality. That's what we're talking about. Now, some people think, for example, pole dancing. A lot of people think that's immoral. Some people think not. They say, oh, well, just because a woman's a pole dancer doesn't mean she's a slut. That sort of stuff. Okay, that's kind of subjective. It really depends on what is universally accepted versus what is not. Okay, like things, okay, that's the sort of stuff that I'm talking about when I say that there's both a subjective and an objective. Okay, objectively, yes, murder is wrong. If you wouldn't want it done to you, chances are nobody else wants it done to them. Okay, you shouldn't treat people, treat people the way you should be, you want to be treated. If you don't want to be murdered, then don't murder other people. Again, this is kind of what Dennis Prager was getting at with his video when he brought up Hitler and Stalin and I forget who the other guy was. Murdering like 100 million people. He's saying that they weren't moral people. Basically, he's saying that like everybody agrees that murder is wrong. But this didn't stop Hitler. He didn't care. Why? Because Hitler was an immoral person. So that's really what's going on here. Now, I'm not necessarily trying to defend Dennis Prager. I think he does kind of present his information inaccurately. As somebody, I think he called himself. I think he's just known as Skeptic on YouTube. Not Armored Skeptic, by the way. It is somebody else. He basically points out that Dennis Prager is using the if-then fallacy, which I do kind of agree with. This is definitely not one of Prager used better videos, but I feel like the information is right. He's just not presenting it right. I feel like what he's trying to say versus how he's saying it, I think it's real. It's the real conflict between in this video. Jaclyn Glenn, on the other hand, has no goddamn idea what the hell she's talking about. All she really does is validate, is actually confirm everything that Dennis Prager says. She said, he says that every atheist he's spoken to, which is a confirmation bias, by the way, agrees that if there's no God, then there's no objective morality. That's really what's kind of going on with that. And I feel like it's like, again, that's confirmation bias, but it doesn't necessarily make it untrue. That's one thing I think a lot of people misunderstand, is like, just because you're confirming your bias doesn't necessarily make what you're saying false. Okay? Well, nobody I've ever spoken to think this way, so I guess it must be a fact. No, it's just there's a lot of people who would agree with you. People, authoritative figures. Whether they are authoritative or not. That's really what's going on here. Now, again, Jaclyn Glenn, she's basically doing the typical liberal trick where it's like, well, twist what, it's like, take something out of its context, twist the context, and then attack that. That's basically what she's doing in her response video, and I find it absolutely stupid. So that's basically my response to Jaclyn Glenn. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, share, subscribe, support me on Patreon, and I will check you guys all out later.